Hello again, thanks for coming back to Ski Movement Motor Skills Training. This is a playlist for ski instructors trying to get certification, so it's going to be following the book in this playlist. So follow along with me. It's really important to make these movements with me. There's a concept of visual auditory kinesthetic. It's in your book. Know it for your exams, for your teaching, everything you teach. Use visual demonstrations. Audio, you speak. You give some cognitive material, content, so people can understand what they're seeing in your demonstrations. And then kinesthetic is they need to feel it. They need to feel muscles grip. Okay, so follow along with me. It's really important for all these practices and teachings. Okay, so the skills concepts, it's the number one thing that's going to get you through your teachings. It's going to make you a good instructor to know the concepts and their rotary edging, pressure management skills, rotary edging, pressure management, and balance, dynamic balance through them all. Okay, so the rotational control movements speak of the legs rotating. Okay, so pretend you're in a chairlift, sit in a stool with me, and rotate your legs to the side. Keep your ankles just kind of, your feet flat, so your ankles a little bit flexed, not all the way, but just neutral, don't point them down. Okay, so keep them neutral, and rotate to the side, and grip these muscles. Okay, grip them hard. And as you rotate them to the side, notice where you're balancing on the chair, just for playing. Okay, so if this was a left turn, okay, this is a component of a left turn. It's not everything. Okay, we're just going to focus on the rotational component. So we're rotating this femur in the hip socket. You can point them out, rotate it hard, rotate it hard. Feel the muscles. And as you rotate them to the right, your balance should be on your left thigh. Chairlift exercise, balance on the left thigh, nose over the outside foot. That's your outside foot in a turn. Okay, rotate them back to the left, and your nose is going to be over your right foot. Grip, 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 and notice what muscles are working. I got some muscles right here working. My groin muscles are working to rotate, and then rotate them back again the other way. Okay, now with this, there's other muscles involved, and we'll get to those as we go. So rotational control, that's just in the legs. There's other rotational control movements. That's a counter rotation. Okay, so do this again. Rotate your feet to the left. Okay, and counter rotate your upper body. Okay, so your pelvis can move counter to the femur rotation. You can take and you can pull these muscles that tie into the pelvis and pull this left hip forward on the chair, so you're getting some counter rotation, not just the leg movement, but you're actually countering that action in the pelvis with the hip moving forward, as well as the upper body can counter rotate as well. Okay, so that's another rotational movement. Counter rotation, the pole plant's here. So move it to the right, grip these muscles, and scoot the left hip forward. Pull back, scoot it forward, so you have that pelvis angling, leading the direction with your knees. Okay, so you're adding a little bit of more component of rotating that pelvis over rather than just rotating the knee. You're pulling that pelvis forward. You're going to offset your knees some more. Okay, so we can just rotate the legs, follow me, and there's not much offset of the knees. Okay, so rotate them this way, and there's not a whole lot of offset of the knees. But if we take and we rotate the pelvis about, we can get this offset. It's like a lead, tip lead. Okay, so there's rotation there, and then we have the ability in the trunk that was covered again later. Okay, they also break it down into anticipation. Call it anticipation rotation. Okay, so they're taking short radius turns and they're anticipating with this trunk flexion for a pole plant. So if you're on steep terrain, you're anticipating this flexion and gripping a little bit more, rotating the upper body through the twisting of the trunk muscles. Your abdominal obliques, transverse abdominis, we're all rotating, twisting those down in anticipation of the next turn. So hold that and grip it, feel what it's like at the maximum, anticipating. Okay, and then we're going to be moving back to the other side, gripping, rotating, pulling the hip forward, rotating the knee in, this knee out, and anticipating that next turn. Okay, so anticipation, rotation. Upper body rotation. Okay, so we included upper body rotation. The upper body is defined as the pelvis above the femur, the head of the femur. So that's the entire upper body. So there's rotation. Rotate your feet this way. You got the pelvis can rotate against the femur. So this is our base of support, our new leg. We can use those pelvis muscles and the abdominals, deep abdominals that cross over and grip down the psoas and the iliacus muscle. Those grip and give us ability to pull that hip forward in advancing in the turn. Okay, take that, grip it, and then a rotation in the upper body. We can tactically use maybe an upper body rotation to help us advance to our next turn, or we can use upper body rotation to make a turn go where your whole body's going with, your feet are going with it. There's no counter. Okay, so there's different ways to use upper body rotation tactically. Efficiently, there's always going to be a progressive counter. Boom, pressing, coming out, gripping, opening, boom, pressing, coming out. Okay, so those are the three components: leg rotation, counter rotation, anticipation, upper body rotation. Actually four sections of rotational control that they talk about in the book. Okay, so these rotational movements are used to control the skis. We can turn the ski, we can steer the ski, and pivot. Turning is more, it's the process of a turn. You're going left, you're turning right. Okay, steering the ski is driving the muscles, holding and gripping and driving and pulling and pushing and all the things to keep driving and steering the skis. A pivot would be where you actually break edge and you skid the ski. You rotate more than the direction you're going, so you're creating a skid, a turn. A good steer, perfect clean steer, carved turn would be putting all that direction right through the length of your ski. Okay, right on through. There's foot steering and footwork that's not talked about in this for rotational control. I use it a lot in my personal skiing, and I think it's a really important thing to add on to your play and fun in teaching skiing, and that is this movement. Okay, this movement. As you take and you turn and you turn and you take and turn your feet a little bit more, you steer your feet through the belly, the edges of your skis will change as you go around. So it's a function, rotational function of the feet. You can steer your feet a little more instead of just riding them neutral. It's hard to get a belly of the turnout if you're not taking and steering that steering motion with the feet. So rotational control in the feet is something I personally do. It wasn't in the first section of the book talking about the skills concepts, rotational control. Maybe they'll cover it later and we'll talk about it in more detail. Okay, so they also talk about rotational balance. So overall, with these skills, balance is going to cover them all. Okay, so we need to have balance as we're going through. So the body has to be balanced over the base of support. It's outside leg. Most of your pressure is going through the outside leg. We'll get into that pressure control. But rotational balance, all these movements as you steer and rotate, you're using these muscles and contracting and gripping to create balance over the new ski. As these skis go across this way and you're switching edges, your upper body through your rotational control can help you adjust and get your nose over the outside ski for balance during that rotation. It's a dynamic balance, so we use all these muscles all the way through to grip and find that dynamic balance. Okay, so that covers rotational control, one aspect or one of the skills in the skills concepts that you're going to need to know for a level 2 and level 3 exam. And you need to know to really be a good instructor. Know the muscles. Think about the muscles that make these movements work. It's super important to feel and grip and take your clients through the kinesthetic part of this movement pattern. Okay? All right. Send some feedback. Let's ski together. Peace to you.